thank you for being here. Phase 3 of this 1 year lasting almost campaign. For those of you that are new, the campaign was launched to make the case that farmers market count in 3 focal dates. The first one was biodiversity, 22nd of May. Then we did a run in July for the Rural Food Day, where we counted actually farmers. And this is our last piece of the campaign, where, as Richard mentioned, we will count the shopper. So the purpose of this webinar is to understand campaign C. What are we counting? How are we counting them? So the methodology, and how can we prepare for the day, and how can we communicate before, during, and after. And also we will share with you some key dates that will be of usage for you. Julia, can you move on the next slide, please? Yes, so what you will learn today in deep is we're going to introduce you to yes, how to prepare on the day on the instruction PDF to understand how you can prepare exactly. Right now, the instruction PDF will be shared with you today in English, but it will be also translated in Spanish. Then we're gonna also introduce you to what we call the shopper intercept poll. That is what you're gonna use to interview shoppers at the market, and the shopper count form, which is where you're gonna input the data you collect, or namely how many shoppers you have counted at the market using the clicker that Richard just introduced. And what to do on the day of the counting, and again, how to report the collected data. Then we go on the communication, and Julia will introduce you exactly how to prepare and communicate. Please, the next slide, Julia. Yes, just a recap, the the Farmers Market Count campaign is a digital global communication campaign with activation, as I explained before, in 3 different moments of the year. The unifying message is Farmers Market Count, and for now, for campaign C, it's gonna be on the week of the World Food Day. And I would like to highlight that we changed the dates of the counting. And we did this because many of you may know that next week we're going to have our General Assembly in Rome. And we were very ambitious at the beginning to say, let's do all together. Then we realized that many of you managers will be in Rome. So we thought maybe it was better also for you to actually enjoy the General Assembly and focus on the counting the following week, meaning that now the new dates for the counting are from the 16th of October until the 23rd of October. Any of those days can be chosen. And we will kindly ask you to communicate the day you decide to count on your market to Julia. Next slide, please, Julia. Yes. What is it? When we say counting shopper, what do we mean? So physically counting the shoppers, Richard will guide you through how to do it. As it's not a rocket science, of course, there will be how do you say some overview data. It's impossible, of course, I understand. I do run a farmers market myself too, and many of the farmers market don't have a really entrance point. So to have an exact overview, but as close as possible, that's what we are looking for, to the right number. And then interview the shoppers to determine some key information. By counting shopper, what we want to do is estimate the number of shoppers who attend the farmers market to show how farmers market can provide a solid platform to farmers for their sales, how long they travel to the farmers markets, to make the case also in this case how farmers market serves urban, peri-urban communities, how often they attend, so that how farmers market can somehow be a trustful and also continuous shopper platform for consumers, learn what motivates shoppers to go in farmers market, and if they learn at farmers market as well, what is the educative outcome of shopping in a farmer's market. Next slide, Julia. Again, the goals are, or the objective are to serve it, like to make the case that farmers market counts when it comes to serving consumers food access needs. So making sure that there is fresh, healthy, sustainable food for consumers, and so increasing the accessibility, educating consumers, and also helping, as I said before, farmers to increase their sales, or to actually provide a platform for their sales. And also we want, of course, our target audience are the policymaker and local decision makers, potential farmers market partners, so food environments, public health, rural agri-food development, and public spaces. And I would say here also consumers themselves and farmers themselves could be the target actually of this campaign, to show farmers that yes, there are people coming to shop at the farmers market, so come and join us on this actually adventure. Next slide, Julia, please. And I pass the word to Richard now.
Okay. Thank you, Viola. So now we'll get to the methodology. Unlike in the first two stages where we had lots of paper, you may remember you printed out a PDF and then you had to add the information and then input it onto the computer. For the shoppers, we can be a little bit simpler. What you will have is the instructions on a PDF, which you'll have the link for, and then you'll be inputting the two different polling that you'll be doing. One is the shopper count. So when you're actually counting the number of shoppers, you'll use a link and sign into that form. Did we disappear? No. Hold on.
I can hear you, Richard.
You can hear me, great.
Yes.
Something funny happened on our screen, just to keep us on our toes. Since we're relying so much on technology for this one, we know everything will go according to plan. So you'll have, unlike in the first two, you'll actually key into two different forms. One will be at the end of the day, when you've counted all of your shoppers, and I'll describe how you do that, you'll count all of your shoppers, you'll input that number onto one form. And it'll be the question of what is the name of your market, what is your email address, and how many shoppers, and you'll input a number. On the other one, the shopper intercept poll, and here's where the instructions are. So they'll look like that. For the shopper count, step one, this is the shopper,
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
This is the, hold on, the intercept.
Do I have to go back?
No. Go forward one. It's actually better. To be on one more. Back one. One more.
Oh.
No.
Do you want to come here?
It seems to be skipping some pages. There we go. Perfect. No, it's just slow is what's happening. Sorry, here we go. Okay, so for the first step, the shopper intercept. And by intercept, what it is you are standing at one of the entrances to the market, and you, or a good meeting place in the market, you might want to have a table next to you so the shopper can put their bags of groceries down and they're not so stressed out like I'm carrying heavy groceries and I want to leave. So you have this opportunity to intercept the shopper. So the shopper is going about their business, they're trying to leave the market, intercept them, stop them and say, hi, I am with the farmers market. We're conducting a quick study, a quick poll. Can I ask you a few questions? With these questions, you will not be using pen and paper. You can actually use your phone, and whether you use the QR code that you scan or whether you use the link that you'll have, each time you interview a different shopper, you will enter into the intercept poll again. You will fill in the first questions that are even before these the name of the market, and I think your email address.
And just the approval for that.
And that the approval that we have the shopper's approval to collect their data. So you will do that each time. But the great thing is you do that little steps, you won't have all the computer work to do at the end of the day when you have pieces of paper. So this will all be done digitally. And then you dive into these questions. We have, I think, 9 questions. Some are very quick. Here are the first 6. How long did you travel to reach the farmer's market today? Now for that, they may say, oh, 20 minutes or 4 minutes. The answers will be in a scan of like, less than 30 minutes, 30 minutes to 90 minutes, more than 90 minutes to come to the market. So they will probably give you a precise number, like it took 44 minutes to get here, but you'll place it in a span of time so that we actually group how long it takes people, your shoppers, to come to the market. This, like all the other questions, are proxies. And by proxies, these are key indicators that we will use to tell us about the loyalty, the convenience, and the predictability of our shoppers. The second question is this your first time at the farmer's market? Now, if it is their first time, then you don't have to worry about question 3. What we find throughout the world, it's pretty constant, is that farmers market shoppers are loyal. They come quite frequently. So if they answer, no, this is not my first time coming to the market, well, the answer is no. And then you go to the next question 3. So if no, how often do you shop at the farmer's market? Again, here, if they have trouble remembering, you'll have some prompts that you can ask them, like, I come weekly, I come monthly, I come occasionally. Those are the kinds of answers where we'll group them into what their answer is and how to input it. The fourth question, because we know that from all of our previous studies that farmers markets are places where women have power, they make decisions, they spend money, they make money. We're just simply asking the question, are you female? And that can be one that you ask them. You can hand them the phone and they key it in themselves. But that one is a very quick question. Are you female? What is your age? Here, it is very awkward to ask people, how old are you? So there is, again, under 30 years of age, 30 to 50, 51 and above. So we're looking for big groups of ages. We're not asking for people's particular age, which, depending upon where you are, that can be a rather uncomfortable or rude question. And then the 6th question is, when visiting the farmer's market, do you come alone or with others? And what we're trying to find out here is that what we know is true with grocery store shopping. People shop by themselves. It's a miserable thing that people do in order to get food. When they come to the farmer's market, there's a social component, which we think is part of what we're selling, is the ability to spend time with others. So if they bring their family, if they bring their parents, if they bring friends, this is what question 6 is getting at. And then, Julie, if you could move to the next slide, I'll get to the last 3 questions are really quite interesting. And I'm sorry it's a little bit smaller. It was easier to cut and paste because you can see this is what it'll look like on the screen, which is, hold on, because my eyes are so old. I'll look at it here on a smaller screen. What motivates your purchase the most? And I suspect you have done some studies like this in your own market, is to try and understand why do they come? What are they looking for? Are they looking for price? Like the farmer's market is cheaper. Are they looking for organic or sustainable or products that are natural? And we keep that fairly wide open. We're not saying certified organic, but essentially green and clean products. Is it taste or quality? Is it the fact that it's local products? or the last option is the opportunity to meet the farmers. And this is, I think, a really important question. So it's okay if this one takes a few moments to, when you talk to them, to try and help them understand. We're not trying to put the words in their mouth, but it may be, they've maybe never thought about it. They think about it instinctively, but we're trying to tease it out so that we can point to what motivates them to come every time. We know that if we ask them, do you come because we're very convenient, maybe only open 1 day a week in a location, we know we're not convenient. So we know that's not our strength, but our strength is perhaps one of these elements. And then question 8, at the farmers markets, do you discover new ingredients? We could ask them this question in many different ways, but what this points to is that more than just being a place where you can buy food, the food you are buying might be new food. It might be new to you. You may be unfamiliar with how to cook it. So the idea that you're learning new ingredients, you may not know the names, but you're learning new ingredients is also one of the strengths. We're trying to see whether this is indeed a universal characteristic. And then the only open-ended question, and by open-ended, I mean they actually will key in the word, is to choose one word that describes to them the farmer's market. So if I was to ask you, in one word, what does the farmer's market mean to you? And they could say, good friends. You know, they'll never just say one word because no one can actually follow instructions. They may say 2 words. That's okay. Key in 2 words. But trying to narrow it down into one word that means something to them. It may correspond to why they keep coming. They might say organic, or they might say fresh, or they might even give you the name of a particular farmer they like. But I think this is one chance for them to put in their own words, why are they there? And I would say that for this and all the other questions, you know, they will be translated into Spanish and Italian. If you find, as I think you will, after doing this 2 or 3 or 10 times, you will begin to find the words of how to phrase it that makes sense to you in that location. And that's okay, as long as it maintains the spirit of the phrase. But it's also okay if you just want to say the phrase the same way every time. That's the most scientific approach. Now, as to the question of how many people you interview, you know, the goal is to interview as many as is possible without wearing yourselves out. This is one reason why we have to do a customer count, is to find out what is a sample that is valid. So if I were trying to find out the opinions of, say, 500 shoppers, and I only interview 2 shoppers, it's not going to be a very reliable sample. But the more that we interview, the better. There are some tools online that tell you what percentage you should be interviewing, but I think this is the first time we're doing this. Let's just try and get as many as you can. If you can get 50 in a morning, fantastic. If you can get 200, even better. Try and get somewhere between 50 and 200. You'll know how long it takes you, whether they're agreeable, whether you have good internet access. But by conducting the shopper intercept poll, we're going to get some very interesting insights as to what our shoppers think about us. They may not understand how we operate, why we operate, but this will help to tell us what they think the value proposition is for them. So that's the one thread we'll be doing, which is the shopper intercept poll. And we're very much engaged with them. You might want to wear a market T-shirt, or whoever is doing the survey to wear a sticker, something which says, I'm not just a random person on the street stopping you. I'm trying to find out useful information to the farmer's market. And then if we can move to the next poll, and by all means, stop me if there's something I've failed to enter.
No, there is a question. I replied by.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
Yes.
I already replied, but Sandra was asking, what if there is bad internet? And that's a possibility, but we have a plan B, no?
Yeah.
Because you can always actually print, and we're gonna provide you with the printed questions or the file with printed, with you can print, so you can still collect the data with your pen.
Absolutely. And for clarity's sake, I am a bit of a Luddite. I always think that technology is going to break. So I am a fan of having a clipboard and printing it out and keying it in by hand. That is perfect. It just takes, it's easier to do pen and paper in the market. It just takes longer when you get back to the computer. I know that generationally, lots of people are good with their phones and can move quickly. Can they just be walking who are curious and just like to hang around? This is a great question on the shopper count. This is a really interesting question from Grand Market. When we're counting shoppers, and I'll talk now about the shopper count. What we're wanting to do here, and by all means, raise your hands. How many of you conduct a shopper count on a regular basis? No. So that's good. This is a good opportunity. We know, or let me put it this way, we think we know how many shoppers are coming on a regular basis. I'm often surprised. I'm often surprised that it's more than I think. And you know, this is why we interview the shoppers to find out how often they come. We know that success in business is based on loyalty. If you can get a shopper and keep them coming back, that's a much better business model than having to get new shoppers every single week. Ideally, we want all of them, new shoppers and loyal shoppers. But this is why we do the count. So in the count, think of your market as a stage, like the stage in a theater. And think about the line that you draw around the market of when you enter onto the market or onto the stage. And what you're wanting to count are all of the characters in your play. And we know that your shoppers are characters. How many of them are walking onto the market? Now they can be rolled onto the market. Let's say they're in a wheelchair. But you want to count the people who enter into the market, and think of that line. You could actually draw a line with chalk, but you don't need to. You want to stand at a place that gives you a good view of the number of people of when they're entering into the market. And you'll define, this is the entrance, click, I will count them. Now for counting, you obviously cannot use your fingers. You could write it down on paper, but the best device to use is one that Julia will hold up. It's a clicker, a hand clicker. I'm sure it has different names in different languages, but it's a very old school mechanical clicker where every time you see someone entering the market, you use your thumb and you click. And by the end of the day, you'll have your count of how many shoppers you have. Now, is this accurate? It's pretty accurate. It's really important to conduct a count, mainly because it's the only time you'll have someone standing out at the entrance or one of the entrances of the market, or if you're lucky, it's an outdoor space and you can stand at the top, on the top of a building next door and count. There are many high-tech ways to do this. I think that at the San Teodoro market in Chico Massimo, there is an actual digital clicker that sets you off when you walk into the space.
Yes.
Yeah, a camera. That's great. Most markets do not have that. But in order to get a count of the people who walk in, don't worry. Well, worry about who you're counting. One, you don't want to count staff. You don't want to count farmers. So, you know, there'll be a little bit of error. People may come and leave and come back. You may count them twice. That's okay, but that won't happen so frequently. You don't really want to count babies and strollers because they're not shopping. Now you can, if you count someone who's being pushed in on a wheelchair, well, maybe you just count the one person, the person who's pushing them. You could not choose to count them, but again, we're only talking about minor numbers. The interesting thing here is that many of the shoppers who come in are entering the market are not shopping. That's not why they're there. I think we'll find over time when we analyze who comes into the market. Some people come into the market because they want to see all the other people in the market. They are there for the activity, maybe the free cooking, show cooking. They're there for that. It's okay. You're counting the warm bodies that come into the market. And even if they don't spend money, they help us because they give us critical mass. They give us the sense that this is a place to be. But this is an opportunity on a given market day. We know that there's not a typical market day, but it's a market day. Once you've done this once, you might want to do it several times a year to find out what are the highs and lows of your count. You can spend weeks analyzing the count. Where do they come in? What hours do they arrive? How long do they stay is another question that we could look at in future campaigns. But this is really as simple as counting them coming in. Now, if you're in an indoor space, well, it's easy because the locations of entering and exiting are much simpler. If you have two major entrances, you might want to have a count on two entrances. Depends on how large your market is. And the other thing is, if you find that the count is very low, like, oh my gosh, there's only 150 shoppers today, that's okay. It's better to know than to just delude yourself as well. So, and it also may be a rainy day and the shoppers are down that day. That's okay. This is the randomness that comes with beginning to develop a scientific method to evaluate our success. But by inputting the shopper count, we'll begin to get a picture of what are the average size, what are the mean and median sizes of markets, also by location. And we'll also be able to tabulate the frequency of the shopper, give us a sense of over a month, how many shoppers do we have. Those sorts of numbers will be very helpful for us to show our weight as something that adds value to consumers. So I think I'll stop there on the methodology, hoping that if there are some additional questions, we'll have time to address them. And of course, we are here to help. But then once you have your information, we've got to package the answers. And we know that it has taken us a long time to aggregate the information, but also you can aggregate the information on market day, even just by showing photos that we're doing a count. That tells the wider community that we are serious and valid in our use of technology and evaluation. So with this, I think I've turned it over to Julia. Are you taking over at this point?
I think I am. I was just struggling with the screen presentation and to see like your faces and everything. Can you still see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay. So now we go into the communication aspect of this campaign. Here, the objective is to demonstrate that farmers markets are essential for the community and they serve as hubs and social inclusion. Also, like providing customer not only like fresh, healthy, sustainable and good food, but also like creating connection between the shoppers and the producers, because it's like really typical in farmers markets to create some bond while doing shopping, because you want to ask the farmer or the producer how that product is made, or ask some suggestion on product that they recommend instead of maybe choosing other kind of product. The timeline for this communication aspect are divided in like 3 moments, like we did for the other campaign. So we have the pre-phase of the campaign where we want to create and put curiosity into the mind of the people that are seeing this campaign online. Then we have the during campaign, so it's the moment where we are actually doing the count at the market, and we are promoting the campaign online on social media. And then we have the final phase, so the post-count phase of the campaign. It's when we are done with the counting and the activities at the market. So we reflect about the insights and the data that we collected through the counting. The platforms to use that we recommend are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn and as main social media. Then, of course, if you use other social media, you are free to use them and to sponsor the campaign through all the social media that you can think of. Then WhatsApp, if you have some mail list with your clients, the website, and then the newsletter. Some tips to do in the pre-phase of the campaign is to, of course, explore the shared drive. If you're new, we know that most of you already did the other two phases of Farmer Market Count, so probably by now you know the shared drive better than us. But for the new one, we suggest you to just dive in and explore all the folders that you have there. And to have just like a bit of more information, understanding, and potential of this campaign. Then I suggest you to always check the calendar, and the calendar is inside the shared drive, because we are going to upload all the key dates there, and actually they are already there, so mark your calendars and you will not forget. And then, of course, you always have to spread the word to reinforce the message of this campaign and the goal that we have as a community. Something that you can do, of course, is plan the content that you are going to publish. So as soon as, I'm sorry, I will change the dates here. And then as soon as you will have the complete file, you will have the right dates. So here it says October 6th, but it's not going to be October 6th. I think, if I'm not wrong, is October 14 that you will receive all the graphic materials and the instruction and the polls file, so you can start practicing with this phase, like we did for the other two campaigns. Of course, you can add your logo, personalize the graphic, and like create something of your own if you wish, and then post everything on social media. Some key dates or like mandatory graphic that you need to post regard the World Food Day graphic layout that will be provided by us with all the other layouts, and you can decide if you want to upload your logo or just leave the World FMC logo as well as the Farmer Market Count campaign logo. Please remember to use the hashtag and the guideline that we gave you, and you can find them in the folder as file guide. When you will tag us on social media, we will always repost your content. And if you want to put us in as collaborator on your post on the feeds, just send us the request. But in this case, we will do a sort of consideration if we are going to accept the post as collaborator, so that one will be on our feed too, and we will check if the post follows the guideline and the visual impact of the post. During the action phase, so the second moment of this campaign, it's important to announce the counting the market in advance, not just to us, but also to your community online, so they can, if they want, they can participate like actively in the counting. You will want to share like all the necessary information online, so when it's happening, why it's happening, where, so like the address of your market, and also if you're planning some specific action along with the counting. So for example, a lot of markets during the biodiversity count did a biodiversity exhibition. So some activities like this can be good to help promote the counting. Then, if you want, you can engage with local press that can amplify your voice and talk about the market, but also about the campaign. And you will also receive like a press kit with basic information that you can share with them or with like people that wants to know more. The day of the counting, if you have a good and stable connection, you can go live on Facebook or Instagram. Someone use also YouTube to do the live streaming. It's a bit more complicated, I think. Usually Instagram and Facebook are the most quick one and also easy one to manage. Then try to do a lot of live stories. To show to your community how is going the day, what are you doing, and how the people engage with the activity. And for example, after these slides, I will show you a set of questions that you can use to create or some reels or some polls on social media. Something nice to do is at the end of the counting to do a post where you highlight all the activities and all what happened during the counting at the market. Now we approach this part where I give you like some questions, ideas that I've just mentioned. So for example, you can ask, how often do you go shopping at the farmer's market? Why do you like shopping here? If you could choose just one word to describe a farmer market, what would it be? So these questions are not related to the poll that Richard explained before, but these one are just for social media. So you can use this one to tease your audience online. Or for example, what's the best day for them, so for your community, to visit the market and why. For example, some people go during the weekend because they don't have to work, so they can spend the free time at the farmer market. Other people maybe wants to go during the week as it will be less crowded of people and they want to shop with more relax. In the post phase of campaign C, what you want to do is to share the key insights that you gathered. At the end, we will provide you some insights, but of course, you will have some personalized insights based on the data that you collected. So you can just keep sharing or like start sharing that data. Then you can approach here some media as you will do in the pre-phase, so like local press and everything. You can still approach them in this phase just to share some concrete results and the picture that animated the counting. Something nice that you can do to thank your community and maybe the people who spend time on answering to your question to do this survey, is to dedicate to them or a reel or a carousel post highlighting all their faces and maybe adding some quotes if they liked to participate in the market, or if they were new in the market, or just like regular shoppers in your market. Now, here we have a list of the things that you will receive from us. So, of course, the webinar slides, and they will be translated in Spanish and Italian, as well as English. Then you will have the farm market count instruction, and this document is already available on the shared drive, as this one is the standard instruction that we have for the general campaign. Then you will receive the consumer intercept poll and the shopper count instruction. Then the shopper intercept poll and the shopper count Google Drive. You will also receive some graphic templates that you can edit. Thank you, and sorry. So the Canva template that if you're not, like, if you are a veteran of this campaign, you already know how it works, that you need to create a copy and not edit the original file. And I will check who will change the original file, and I will be really mad because then I need to create another one. So please, when you receive the Canva template, make a copy and then do whatever you want on your copy. Then you will also receive a press kit, as mentioned before. The farm market count guidelines, that one are already present in the share folder. There is the file where you can put the day of the counting of your market, and also a press release template that you can fill out with all the information and data that you gathered during the counting. Here is the right calendar. So October 14, we will send you all the campaign C materials, Canva, and also regarding the actual counting. October 16, we will release the campaign online using the official graphic forward through the day that you will find in the Canva file. Then the counting will happen from the 16th to the 23rd of October. And I read that someone will do the counting after. If it's not a lot of like days later.
Mute yourself. Can you ask? Not sure.
I'm gonna check. I'm sorry. I don't see.
Ask, not sure who you are. Can you mute yourself, please?
I'm not really speaking. I'm trying to.
AS.
Yeah, I found that one. Okay. I think I muted all of them.
Great, great.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So with the dates, just let us know when you're doing the counting, even though if it's like a few days after the 23rd of October, that will not be a problem. Just let us know, so we will wait for you. And then please enter your results by October 27. In this case, if someone, we can check them for the people that will do the count later, but the deadline, the official deadline is October 27. But also this time, I think it will be easier for the people that will do the counting on the phone or tablet because it will be automatic. But for the one that are using the pen and paper, please submit it by the 27th. At the end of November, we will share campaign C key results. And then at the end of the year, we will show the final FMCOUNT report, comprehending all the three campaigns that we had. So what's next? If someone here haven't signed up yet, please do it. Then communicate the date you will do the count. Check the poll as soon as you will have it. But in the meantime, you can read the instructions and the tools and information that are already inside the folder. Plan your communication according to this campaign. I know you don't have yet the Canva file, but you may have like an idea of what you are going to do and how you want to communicate, so you can prepare yourself ahead. And then invite people that count in your market so they can help you spread the word and the message that we all together are trying to spread. And of course, ask some volunteers to join you the day of the count, as you will be busy counting, and the more the merrier. So it will be good to have more people. Here is another timeline in general. You will have this one on the slides, but basically, already I told you already all the important dates for this campaign. And we are done.
Great. Thank you, Julia. I think by giving so much time and attention to the communication, it is a reminder of how in the first campaign A on biodiversity, we had many markets participate. We also had many more markets that did not have the capacity to do the count, but they posted all kinds of marvelous images. This is again, remember, this is an opportunity as a campaign to communicate our message, as it is an opportunity to create a culture of evaluation in our markets. And I know that we have, I don't know where we are in the hour, we only have a few more moments, but I did want to address one, I thought, very pertinent question, which is we are recommending using a clicker to count your shoppers. That's not to say that if you already have recent counts, like you do a count every October, or you did one in March and you feel that the crowds are much the same, you can use that number if you do not feel that you have the capacity to do it now. But of course, we should probably be counting on a regular basis. Secondly, there are other ways to count that are very creative. You can give out a sticker and have people put on the sticker that says, "I heart farmers markets." And therefore, you count how many sheets of stickers, and therefore that's how many shoppers you had. That will probably not be as accurate, but it might be more fun. It might be easier for you to do it. But I think just getting into the habit of finding creative ways, regular, every week ways to look at your market is what we're hoping will come out of this as well. If there are any questions, I know there have been some great questions coming through the chat, and Viola's been responding to them. I don't know if Viola, there's any other final points we'd want to make?
No, just Gerda said something important that is not technically, she's right, because I suggested that to recruit volunteers, but she said, but then if I have 10 people at the same time, how can I make sure that they're not counting the same person 10 times or 5 times, which is true. It is not an easy exercise, which is, for instance, why us at the Cron Market, we have done it not that many times. We did it during the COVID when we had the clear entrance and we had the people with the clicker at the entrance. We have, in fact, used the clicker. But having said that, I think then maybe find one person and you change that person every hour or whatever, just
Yeah.
and find the best place at your market, and then do your best. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's not gonna be
No.
that.
And it's very passive. The clicking, you can be sitting there and you just click. Yep, I saw another one come in, click, click. For the interviews, the customer intercept, that's a much more high energy interaction with shoppers. So you may find that you get a clicker and they can do an hour at a time. That's a good length of time where it's reliable. So if you have a team of volunteers, try and split them up so they're not all at the same time. Yeah.
Julia, you wanted to say something. Then I see an email from Irene. I'm not sure which folder she means.
I think she means, yeah, I wanted to say, because I saw that you said to communicate the dates to me by email, but instead I created a file also for the previous 2 campaigns. So who is doing the market will upload that file, so we keep track of everything and we don't forget and lose any dates. And I think Irene was mentioning that file that she had to ask permission. I will change the permission as soon as we are done with this call.
Okay, then apologize. I thought it was an email I shared the wrong information. Any more questions? No? Then okay, then for some of you, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we can't wait to see you next week. And for those who we will not see next week, we look forward to seeing you online. Thank you for diving in and joining with us on what I think is a very important exercise. This helps to give us more data, more credibility, and also a funny way to communicate to those who visit on those days that we are serious about our craft. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for our translators. We know that we probably throw lots of strange words your way, so hopefully we didn't make it too confusing.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.